Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stephen Brooks. Before we go ahead and get started on this training here today, could you all do me a favor if you are on the training right now? Please go ahead and give me a yes, a 1, an L. Let's do a quick audio and visual check. So if you could see my screen and you can hear my voice loud and clear, please go ahead and let me know in the chat box right now, folks. Again, give me a yes, give me an L, give me a Y, give me where you're from. As long as you can see my screen loud and clear and you can hear my voice, please go ahead and let me know in the chat box right now. So we got Steve, we got Rocco, Jack, Elton, Jean, we have Jan, Ricky, Felicia, Byron, Walter, Craig, Kenneth, Paul, Dr. JD, Johan, David, Tony, Jared, and Brenda. Thank you all so much for that. I want to welcome all of you to this training. In the next 90 minutes, folks, here's what's really cool about the training that you're on right now. In the next 90 minutes, folks, not only am I going to show you exactly how I am beating the market this year, investing just 1 day a week, but how you can use those exact same strategies to go out there and get potentially even better results. Now, for some of the folks who have not been on any one of my trainings you should know that I really like to get to know the folks who are on the training. The reason I like to do that is because the more information that I know about you ahead of time, the more I can kind of customize and tinker the training that you are on. So I'm going to ask everyone a series of 4 questions right now in the chat box. And if you go ahead and give me that information, I'll just be able to customize this a lot for the folks who are on this training. So the first question is, and go ahead and let me know your answers in the chat box. Let me go ahead and do this. The first question is, how long have you been investing? Let me go ahead and type that in. Go ahead and let me know in the chat box right now. Something doesn't look like it's working, but that's okay. Just go ahead and let me know in the chat box, folks, how many years of investing experience you have. So let's see there. We have Felicia says 1 month. Awesome. Byron, 3 years. Ricky, 2 years. Walter, 5 years. Dr. JD, 10 years. Steve A says 30 years. Johan says 3 years. Elton says that looks like about 55 years. Very cool. Sean says 40. Johnny says 25. Rocco says 2. Timothy says 10. David B says 20 years. Very cool. Brendan says 30. Andy says 10 years. Jean says 1 year. Jan says brand new. Henderson says 12 years, and we have Kenneth over there who says 15, and Rob says 32. Fantastic. Next question, folks. What is your #1 goal for your investments? Why do you invest? Go ahead and let me know that in the chat box right now, folks. And again, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to learn a little bit more about you so that I can customize and tinker the training that you're on right now. So in the chat box, folks, go ahead and let me know, what is your #1 goal for your investments? Why do you do it? Let me know. Felicia, financial freedom. We have Johnny over there who says, I need more freedom. Jean, to make millions. Dr. JD, to make more money. Walter, legacy for my grandson. Very cool, Walter. Very, very cool. Byron, retirement funding. Rob, to secure my retirement. Jan says to make more money. Brenda, more income. Paul, financial freedom. Jared, retirement. Johan, replace my current job. Very cool. I hope you get there, Johan. Steve, to grow my portfolio. Elton, to fulfill more charitable contributions. Fantastic, Elton. I hope I can get you there. Timothy, to replace my income. David B, to make more money. Kenneth, supplemental retirement income. Charles, income. Barry, retirement. Anita, more money. Andy says more money. Tom says monthly income. And Ricky says to complement my retirement. Fantastic. The third question is, folks, what is the #1 thing that you believe is preventing you from achieving all of those goals? Because you all have a group of fantastic, fantastic goals. But the next question is, what is currently preventing you from achieving those goals? Go ahead and let me know in the chat box, folks. So Johnny says, I am not as consistent as I would like to be. We have Paul who says, I don't have enough knowledge to be able to make money in the market. Brendan says, nothing is preventing me from achieving my goals. Tip of the cap to you, Brenda. Jean says, knowledge and timing. Felicia says, I have a lack of knowledge. Ricky says, lousy advice. David says technical knowledge. Walter over there says, I am still working on learning how to trade options. We have Rob, time and system. Andy, finding a consistent starting point. Timothy, my hesitation on opening and closing trades at the right time. Jared, lack of funds. We have Johan that says, I need more practice. Henderson, I'm making not enough money and I'm losing way too much. And Tom over there says, I'm looking for a systematic process. Now, I want to welcome everyone to this training here today. My name is Stephen Brooks, and in the next 90 minutes, folks, I am going to show you exactly step by step how I am beating the market this year in 2020, investing just 1 day a week. But it's right now, it's about 7 o'clock Eastern time, but I have one last question for everyone. Now, I want to make this 100% clear. We're not going to get started on this training until everyone answers this last question. So in the chat box, folks, go ahead and let me know right now, what are you looking to learn during this training? And once everyone who is on this training gives me that final answer, we will go ahead and get started on this training here today. So in the chat box, folks, what are you looking to learn during this training? So we have Stephen, a solid strategy. Ricky, how to be more consistent. Timothy, entry and exit points. Brenda, your methods. We have Rob, who says a system of consistent income. Johnny, which day of the week to invest. James, credit spread income. We have Al, to make consistent profits. Kathy, a successful strategy. Moses, to learn trading systems to become a better trader. Henderson, how to make more money consistently. We have Jared, better options trading. Johan, ideas to complement my FX strategy in options and stocks as well. Kenneth, how to gain more confidence. Felicia, your secret. Andy, to learn with a pro who has a legitimate system. Jan, mitigate my risk. Anita, how to make a trade. We have Greg, systematic rules based on strategy. Paul, how to invest wisely and consistently. David, some new trading methods. Art, how to make consistent earnings. Tom, a consistent strategy. Chris, I'm looking to learn entries and exits. Mike, how to lose less money. Barry, a consistent monthly method. We have Dr. JD, I don't know what I don't know, and I want to learn what you know. David, one simple system that I can use. Fred, how to build confidence in myself. Andy, spotting the right opportunities. We have Bishwan, to create income. We have Sarah, who says how to minimize my trading time. George, low risk, high reward options trades. Charles, $10,000 per month. We have Van, trading knowledge to improve profits and reduce my losses. Tony, looking for a good program that is easy to follow. We have Bill, I need to learn how to get started and gain confidence getting going. And Joseph says, I'm looking for a brand new and different strategy. Awesome, folks. Thank you for your participation. This is going to be amazing. Now, before we go ahead and get started, folks, we all kind of know that there are two groups of people when it comes to investing in the stock market. And you have this first group, and they have shiny object syndrome. They chase every different strategy and tactic. They try to day trade, and they buy high and they sell low. Now, the second group, folks, they are patient. They are conservative yet consistent. They go for the best resources, the best knowledge, and the best strategies, and they are selective. Now, that second group, folks, that is the group that I've been in part of my investing career. And because you're all with me here today, investing your time and your financial education, I know that you too are a part of that second group, folks. And because you're a part of that second group, folks, I have something today that I think is right up your alley, because this is the kind of stuff that we look for. So here's what you're going to learn during this training. You're going to learn how I am beating the market, investing just 1 day a week. But you already knew that, right? You're also going to learn how the top 1% of all investors are able to make money each and every year. And trust me, folks, you can do that too. Now, on this training, I'm going to show you how to profit while completely bypassing having to know about charts, balance sheets, Fibonacci's, indicators. For what I am teaching you on this training, you do not need to know any of that. And finally, folks, I'm going to show you how you can scale up your investments and put it all on semi-autopilot. Now, my big promise to you for being a part of this training is, first of all, you're going to have a blast. This is a ton of fun, and I absolutely love teaching individual investors and traders how to be much more consistent with their results. So here is the deal. If you are new to investing and you pay attention for the entirety of this training, I promise not only will you feel the stock market is way simpler than you thought, but you'll be able to start making your first profits immediately following this training. Now, I know we also have folks on this training who are not new to this game. So if you too pay attention for the entirety of this training, I promise you'll be able to add these methods to your already arsenal of ideas. But why is this important, folks? Why is this so important? Well, if I give you one idea today, just one solid idea, it could very well change your financial future, because the reality is you are just one trade away from financial freedom, and I hope to be able to share that with you right here and right now. But first, I have to know if you are in the right place. So if you are new to the stock market and you want to jumpstart your success, well, then this is for you. If you are an experienced investor looking for a big time income boost, then this is for you too. If you want to supplement or replace your income, or if you are looking to achieve financial freedom, then you are in the right spot. And finally, folks, if you need a specific step-by-step plan and want to avoid learning it all on your own, then this is for you. This is something anyone can do, folks, even very part-time. Now, guys and gals, I hope you're starting to feel like you are in the right place. If you are in the right place, let me know in the chat box right now by giving me a big fat 44. I want to make this as interactive as possible, so please give me a 44 in the chat box if some of these sound pretty dang good to you. Ooh, we got a lot of folks. This is great. We got Fred, Timothy, James, Jan, Johan, Tony, Felicia, Sarah. We have Johnny, Jim, Jared, Art, Bill, Greg. We have Van, Al, Nathaniel, Elton. What's up, Elton? We have Brenda, Anita, Paul, Barry, Jean, Saju, Teresa, and Tom. We have a lot of folks in the right place. This is going to be a blast. So my goal for this training is to make this training worth at least $5,000 to your investments. And look, these are the exact same strategies that I use and I share with my students, and they work. So there is no doubt in my mind you're going to get the kind of value if you commit with me. So my ask is that you just treat this training as if you paid $5,000 to learn this. And what this really means is, look, I know right here, right now, you have every opportunity to be distracted away from what we are covering during this presentation. But if you want that $5,000 of value free out of this training, you have to limit all of those distractions and stay all the way until the end. Now, speaking of that, folks, full transparency, I don't want anyone to have any anxiety about what might happen at the end of the training. We do have a community called Market Hero that will extend an exclusive invitation to you for being a part of this training with me today. But you should know that if you want to join later on, there's going to be a ton of incentives and a giant discount, which I want to go over very, very quickly. So Market Hero, folks, is everything you need to make more money and save more time doing so in the stock market. Now, folks, this is the single biggest theme for the training that you are on right now, making more money and spending a lot less time doing so. You're also going to get exclusive access to our private Facebook group and our live weekly webinar trainings. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on my website, Market Hero currently retails for $5,000. But again, as I mentioned before, there is going to be a ton of incentives and a giant, massive discount. So the decision will be completely up to you at the end, but I just wanted to be 100% transparent so you can focus on the training and not worry about what comes next. And again, I promise you that if you pay attention, you're going to get that $5,000 of value out of this training. Does that sound like a fair deal to you? Very cool, folks. Very, very cool, folks. So how is this training going to work? First of all, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about who I am, maybe 30 seconds or so, and then you are going to hear from a few of my clients and students, and you are going to learn what they did to crush it in the market. Now, here is the deal. Our most successful trainees have been our most active trainees, so please feel free to ask away. And the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to pause a few times during the actual training to answer some of the questions that are pertinent to what we're talking about at that point in time. And if we don't get to every single one of your questions during the training, don't worry, at the end, we'll do a much longer Q&A, and we are not going to leave this training until every single question has been answered. So who is this Stephen Brooks character who has been going on for the last handful of minutes? Well, yes, folks, that is me in the top right corner of the screen. I am a former professional baseball player, and I did play in the Kansas City Royals organization. That was a former life. Since then, I've made over $1 million of profits in the stock market. I'm currently an investment coach with clients all over the world who have combined $27 million under management. I'm also a traveler, a sports fanatic, and a foodie. Now, quickly, folks, what makes this presentation different than all the other ones you've been on before and all the other ones you will be on in the future? Well, folks, we are not going to be talking about charts or balance sheets or what's said on the news or indicators or Fibonacci, none of that whatsoever. Everything that I teach you, it can be implemented immediately by a beginner or expert. And the way we do that is we focus on these unsexy, or some would say less risky methods that have worked for years, and as you all are about to see, are backed by years and years of data. And it's totally cool that I teach you all this because, as we all know, the stock market is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, so there are enough profits to go around for everyone. Now, the lawyers make me write this slide. You guys know the drill. This is not a get-rich-quick type of thing. Since you all are part of the TradeThirsty family, there's no need to get into any more detail there. This is not effortless earnings, folks. You will need to pay attention during this training. You will need to take notes, you will need to ask questions, and you will need to take action on these methods immediately following this training. But just because my methods are less risky does not mean that they are risk-free. And finally, folks, my results are not typical. However, I will walk you through the methods that I am using to get excellent results. Please, again, folks, understand that my results are not typical. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the pleasantries are over, so we are now into the meat and potatoes of this presentation. So if you did not have a paper and pen up before, you want to go ahead and do it right now. On this training live, folks, you'll be taught 2 setups. You might be asking, okay, Stephen, what is a setup? Well, imagine for a second that you're sitting in your car and you're at a red light. You're not going anywhere, but all of a sudden the light flashes green. That is the setup. And what happens when the light flashes green or the setup reveals itself to us? Well, we just go ahead and drive on through the intersection. That is exactly how simple my top 2 trading methods are. And as you can see, this is really short by design because we're taking all the hype and all the fluff and we are completely removing it. This is really an instructional training with fair value, and it's kind of how simple my system is. Now, folks, before we go ahead and get started, I want you to know these methods, they work hands down. So I need you all to promise me something, folks. I need you all to promise me that after I share my top 2 trading secrets with you, that you will go out there and take action on them immediately following this training. So give me a 55 in the chat box right now, folks, if you promise to take action on my top 2 trading methods immediately following this training. Let me see those 55s in the chat box, folks. Let me see who my action takers are on this training. We got a lot of action takers. This is really cool to see. We have Bill, we have Fred, James, Timothy, we have Brent, we have Johnny, we have Moses, we have Rocco, we have Sarah, we have Nathaniel, we have Gene, we have Tony, we have Felicia, we have Elton, we have Jack, we have Teresa, we have Andrew, we have John, we have Victor, we have Anita, Kenneth, Art, we have Tom over there, Henderson, Jan, Barry, Rich, Jim, and Ricky. Fantastic, folks. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go right into setup number 1, folks, and I call this one the Gold's Day setup. Now, here is a current student of mine by the name of Ginger. Now, folks, full disclosure, I met Ginger well over a year ago. It was about 18 months ago, back in December of 2018. She came to one of my trainings because she was looking to learn how to be much more consistent with her trading results. Ginger was getting closer and closer to retirement and was looking for that additional income stream in her retirement. So she came to the training back in December of 2018, and we taught her this Gold's Day setup, which is the exact same method I'm going to share with all of you in about 2 minutes time. Now, after we shared this information with her, all she did last year in 2019 was she went out there and she executed this Gold's Day setup. Now, recently I touched base with Ginger and I said, hey, Ginger, exactly how did you do last year following my Gold's Day setup? And here's what she said. She said, in 2019, my second trading year ever, I have made money every single month by following your gold trade. This trade has given me the consistency that I have ever been. Now, after she told that to me, I said, you know what, Ginger? Would it be okay if you send me over your online brokerage statement so I could run their numbers myself and see exactly how you did? And she said, of course. And as it turns out, folks, Ginger actually had a 114% return on her entire portfolio in 2019. In fact, give me a 114 in the chat box right now, folks, if you would have loved to have had a 114% return on your entire portfolio last year, just like Ginger did. Let's see those 114s in the chat box, folks. We got a lot of you. We got Fred, Timothy, MB, Elton, Johnny, Jim, Tom, Jack, Anita, Johan, James, Felicia, Sarah. We have Greg, Henderson, Bill, Teresa, Nathaniel, John, and so many more. Of course, because that is a fantastic return. So the question is, well, how was she able to do this? So here's the deal. When breaking down gold returns, it turns out that there are days of the week which are consistently profitable. In order to locate this profitable setup, we must figure out what days it are. And folks, the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and loss by day in the overall gold market, we have found a winner. Now, what are we looking at here on the left-hand side of the screen? We are looking at gold returns from 2000 to the beginning of 2020. So 20 years worth of data. Now, of course, as you can see on the screen, the gold line, that is the gold returns, again, from 2000 to the beginning of 2020. And then, as you can see, we have it broken down by each individual day of the week. So we have Friday in blue, we have Wednesday in green, we have Thursday in navy, we have Monday in gray, and we have Tuesday in red. Now, folks, it is very clear to me, and I know it's probably clear to you too, that since 2000, investing on Fridays only would have resulted in an investor beating the returns of the gold market. All right, that is the setup. So how do we take advantage of it? So here's what we're gonna do. Before the stock market closes on Thursday, now the stock market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So before that happens on a Thursday, we're gonna log into any online brokerage account. We're gonna type in these three letters, GLD, and we're going to click those big green buttons to buy as many shares of that stock as we can. That's how we get in. Okay, then how do we get out? Well, we hang out for the rest of the day, and then before the stock market closes on Friday, we log back into our online brokerage account. We type in these three letters again, but this time we're going to click those big red buttons to sell all the shares that we bought the day before. Let's repeat that one more time. At the end of the day on Thursday, we are going to do what? We're going to buy. And at the end of the day on Friday, we're going to do what? We're going to sell. And since, folks, this single strategy has beaten the returns of the gold market since the year 2000, we're going to repeat this, right? So we're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, weekly reminders on our calendars. We're going to add sticky notes to our computers. But let me ask you a question right now, folks, beginner or pro. Can you do the Gold's Day setup, right? Can you log in on a Thursday? Can you type in GLD and can you buy? And on Friday, can you sell? Because if you had followed that single strategy, the Gold's Day setup since 2000, you would have beaten the returns of the gold market by investing just 1 day a week. Now, in the chat box right now, I see Gerard asking me how this particular strategy fared during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. Well, if you take a look at the screen and you take a look at the blue line, right, Friday, the Gold's Day setup, during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, as you can see, that still was a profitable year for this particular trade. And one of the things that I like so much about this particular trade is that over the last 20 years, 19 out of those 20 years were profitable for the Gold's Day setup. But that is not all, folks. That is not all. Last year, this was an incredibly consistent strategy, 82% win rate. Phenomenal. And yes, last year, you definitely could have went out there and just bought stock and beaten the returns of the market. But as you can see on the screen, folks, if you bought calls last year utilizing my Gold's Day setup, you would have had a 214% return on your entire portfolio. If you bought call spreads, a 153% return, again, on your entire portfolio. If you sold puts, 88%, or if you sold put spreads, a 124% return, again, on your entire portfolio. That was last year, folks. What about this year? Well, take a look at the screen. What you're looking at right now on the screen, folks, is the S&P 500 this year in gray compared to the Gold's Day setup in blue. So not only, folks, this year in 2020 does the Gold's Day setup resemble a very consistent equity curve, but it is yet again beating the overall returns of the market. So let's, for 1 second, folks, think about the last time we could have went out there and taken advantage of the Gold's Day setup. Well, that was last week, folks, on Friday, September 4th. And on that day, GLD was higher by about 50 cents. Now, one of the things that I really like about this particular method is it does not require such a large move in gold to get significant results. Because on last Friday, folks, on buying calls on the Gold's Day setup, $100 turned into $213. $500 turned into $1,065. Or just last week, folks, on buying call spreads, $100 turned into $200. $500 turned into $1,000. And as you could have expected, my members of Market Hero did even better. Jessica wrote me a note last Friday, and she said, Stephen, I have been doing your Friday gold trade for the past 12 weeks and have won 8 out of those and had 4 losers. During that time, I have made a profit of $6,432.09 following this incredibly simple yet consistent trade, with 1,200 of that coming from today's trade. This trade is allowing me to bring in weekly income and is a total no-brainer. I couldn't have done it without you and Market Hero. Or Ronald also wrote me a note last week, and he said, Steve, this Gold's Day setup has been my bread and butter in 2020. It's so simple to do, and the results are just so consistent. Just by following your simple directions, I got long yesterday and sold just now and generated a profit of $1,862.25, and it took me less than 5 minutes of work to do. Following your Market Hero trades like this one, my account has never grown so consistently. Thank you. Or I also posted in our Market Hero Facebook group last Friday asking how our members did on the Gold's Day setup. As you can see, Paulette, 60% profit. Troy, 75% profit. Philip, 57% profit. Sam, 150% profit. And Evelyn, a $3,000 profit. All right, folks, that is the Gold's Day setup. If you have any questions specifically on that Gold's Day setup, go ahead and pop them into the chat box. I'm just going to take a little bit of a swig of water here, and then I will come back and answer all of your questions before we move on to the next bit of content here. Jim goes, I can master that. Awesome, Jim. Dr. JD, can I do this particular strategy with options? Yes, the Gold's Day setup, it can be done with stock or it can be done with options. That's up to you to decide how you want to go ahead and take advantage of this. Would this work also with GDX? That's Jim. So great question, Jim. What I will say is this. I have that information regarding GDX and SLV as an example for this particular method for my members of Market Hero. But I don't have that information in front of me right now, and I don't want to give you anything that is not 100% verified. But what I will say is GDX, which is just the gold miners ETF, it does move very similar to gold. So the results are not drastically different as you see before you. Great question. So we got Steve. Why does it work? Investors close out their position for the weekend. So here's the deal with that, Steve. I am not very interested in why this works. I don't really care too much about why this works. The only thing that I care about is that the fact that it does work, and it's my job to go out there each and every week and take advantage of this particular method. So again, I don't really bother too much about why this works. It does work, so it's my job to take advantage of this each and every week. Sid, just one trade a week. Absolutely. Cool. Hey, Stephen, for options, which expiration? Sure. So my members of Market Hero, we just use that Friday weekly expiration, the one that expires more or less at the end of the week or the next day from when we put that trade on. What was the success rate? So in 2019, this trade had an 82% success rate. This year, it's a little bit higher. It's about 83.5%. Yep, so fairly consistent over many different years and many different market environments. Johan, what other asset classes, to your knowledge, have a bullish/bearish bias on a particular weekday? There are actually quite a few, and we can talk about that much later on in the Q&A, Johan. Gene, is there a specific time to buy? Right, so it's just sometime at the end of the day on Thursday is when I typically will enter this trade. Great question. Awesome. Now, I do see a lot of questions in the chat box asking about delta or asking about in the money versus out of the money. If you're one of those folks who is asking those types of questions, please do me a favor. Please go ahead and let me know in the chat box if you are okay asking those questions at the end of the training. It's just going to take a little bit more time for me to explain the answer to those questions. So just please go ahead and let me know if you are okay asking those questions at the end of the training. Great, thank you, Fred, Robin, Tim, John, Henderson, Ben, Jim, George. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, that was Q&A part 1. Let's go ahead right now, folks, and dive right into setup number 2. And I call this one the trend setup. Now, here is a current student of mine by the name of Bob. Now, full disclosure, I met Bob a long time ago, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 years ago at this point. And I met him through a former baseball players alumni network. And Bob was interested in learning how to make money in the markets as a ways to supplement his income, because as a mechanic, he had not gotten an increase in his salary in over 10 years time. And as you can see, Bob wanted to learn how to invest, but he did not know if he had enough time to devote to it. So once he told me that, I said, you know what, Bob, why don't I give you an hour-long coaching session totally free? I will show you a few things, and if you like what you see and you like what you hear, we can set up some additional sessions for a few months down the road, and we can take it from there. What do you think? He goes, sure, Stephen, I will take you up on that offer. So Bob and I met on a Sunday morning at 6 a.m. at the crack of dawn for 1 hour. Now, the first 30 minutes of that hour-long session was spent setting up Bob's ever first online brokerage account, because to that point, he had never placed a single trade in his entire life. And then the second part of that hour-long session was spent teaching Bob this trend setup, which again is the exact same method I'm going to share with all of you in about 2 minutes time. Now, after I shared that trade with him, he said, you know what, Stephen, you are right. It does only require me to take a look at the market just 1 day a week. And even with my limited knowledge, it is something I feel like I can do. So yes, can we please set up some additional sessions for a few months down the road? And can we take it from there? So I said, of course, Bob. But the problem was Bob never showed up to any of those other sessions. And I cannot believe it. I was crushed. I was doing the trend setup. It was working very well for me, and I had so much more where that came from. I cannot believe that Bob had blown me off. So finally, folks, like 18 months down the road, I get a random email from Bob, and he goes, hey, Stephen, it's Bob. I am very sorry for blowing you off. I never should have did that, but the reality is I never needed to meet with you ever again, because I made 41% investing in the last year just using the trend setup. In fact, folks, go ahead and give me a 41 in the chat box right now if you would like to make 41% on your investments in the next 12 months, just like Bob did. Let me see those 41s in the chat box. We have a lot of folks looking for some great returns, like Fred, like Bill, like Moses, MB, Timothy, Doc, Johnny, Johan, Tom, Rob, Sarah, Teresa, Jim, Mary Reese, Daniel, Dr. JD, Nathaniel, Victor, Kenneth, Rich, Elton, Tony, Art, Gary. We have so many folks looking for a great return. So the question is, well, how did he do it? So here's the deal. When breaking down stock market returns, it turns out there are weeks in every year which are consistently profitable. In order to locate this profitable setup, we must figure out what weeks they are. And folks, the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and a loss by a week in the overall stock market, folks, we have found a winner. Now, what are we looking at here on the left-hand side of the screen? We are looking at S&P 500 returns from 1990 to the beginning of 2020. So we are looking at 30 years worth of data. Now, what is the S&P 500? It is a basket. It is an index of 500 US-based stocks from many different sectors. So the gray line that you see on the screen is a very good overall summary of the stock market, again, from 1990 to the beginning of 2020. Now, the orange line, folks, it is the trend setup. And don't worry too much if you don't understand it 100% the first time, because I'm going to repeat it quite a few times. But the orange line, folks, the trend setup is weekly returns in the S&P 500 following a drawdown or loss of between 0.5% to -3%. So here's what we did. We went back into the data set, and if we ever saw a single week in the S&P 500 that was down between 0.5% to -3%, we would buy the next Monday, sell the next Friday, and add those results to the orange line. Now, folks, it is clear to me, and it is probably clear to you too, that since 1990, we're talking 30 years, investing in weeks following a drawdown or loss of between 0.5% to -3% would have resulted in an investor beating the market without any of the major losses. All right, that is the setup. So how do we take advantage of it? So here's what we're going to do. Before the stock market opens on a Monday, now the stock market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So before that happens on a Monday, we're going to check and see if the previous week in the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% to -3%. And if it was, we are going to log into any online brokerage account. We're going to type in these three letters, SPY, and we're going to click those big green buttons to buy as many shares of that stock as we can. That's how we get in. Okay, then how do we get out? Well, if we did buy on a Monday morning, we're going to hang out for the rest of the week, and we are going to log back into our online brokerage account before the stock market closes on Friday. We're going to type in those three letters again, but this time we're going to click those big green buttons to sell all the red buttons to sell all the shares that we bought earlier on in the week. Let's repeat that one more time. At 9:30 a.m. Eastern time or before each Monday, we're going to check and see if the previous week in the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% to -3%. And if it was, we're going to do what? We're going to buy. And if we do buy on a Monday morning, we're going to hang out for the rest of the week, and we're going to log back into our online brokerage account before the market closes on Friday to sell all the shares that we bought earlier on in the week. And again, folks, since this single strategy has also beat the returns of the market, but this time going back to 1990, we're going to repeat this, right? So we're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, weekly reminders on our calendars. We're going to add sticky notes to our computers. But let me ask you a question right now, folks, beginner or pro. Can you do the trend setup, right? Can you log in on a Monday? Can you type in three letters, SPY? Can you click those big green buttons? And then on Friday, can you click those big red buttons? Because if you were able to do that since 1990, you would have beaten the returns of the market without most of the major losses. And drum roll, please. and returns of over 1% per week. In fact, here are how the numbers actually break down going back to 1990. As we can see, going back to 1990 in the S&P 500, the average percent gain per week is up 0.20%. But if we just compare that to the average percent gain per week following my trend setup, it has a 6 times greater result, up 1.21% on average. And maybe even more impressive is the largest single week loss in the S&P 500 going back to 1990 is down 14.98%. But if we just compare that to the largest single week loss following my trend setup, a fraction of that maximum loss. Now, one of the things that's also very impressive about this particular method is take a look at how this particular method, the trend setup, fared during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. So we're looking at now on the screen is a comparison during the financial crisis of the S&P 500 in gray compared to the trend setup. And not only did the trend setup not sell off during the financial crisis, but it also generated a 20% profit. But that is not all, folks. That is not all. Last year, we saw this trend setup occur 8 times. We had 7 winners and 1 loser for an 87.5% win rate. Again, very, very consistent. And yes, last year, you could have went out there and just bought stock and done very well for yourself. However, last year, utilizing my trend setup, if you bought calls, you would have had a 121% return on your entire portfolio. If you bought call spreads, a 104% return, again, on your entire portfolio. If you sold puts, 51%, or if you sold put spreads, a 108% return, again, on your entire portfolio. But that was last year, folks. What about this year? Well, take a look at the screen. What we are looking at right now is this year, the S&P 500 in gray compared to the trend setup in orange. So yet again, folks, the trend setup easily beating the returns of the market. So let's think about the last time, folks, the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% to -3%. Well, that was last week. So from yesterday morning on the open to where we close today, the S&P 500 is already higher by 40.09 points. So far this week, folks, on buying calls, $100 has already turned into $302. This week, $500 has turned into $1,510. Already this week on buying call spreads, $100 has turned into $200. $500 has turned into $1,000. And as you could have expected, my members of Market Hero are doing excellently this week. Lynn wrote me a note earlier today, and she says, "Hey, Stephen, I followed the trade alert yesterday morning, and now looking at my account, that position is up $1,305.72. Amazing. Looking at the data you provide in the members area for this trade, the numbers were just too good to pass up. And of course, I am very glad I took this trade even with all of the market volatility. Currently 4 for 4 on this one trade this year with no losers. Rinse and repeat." Or Sheila also wrote me a note earlier today, and she said, "When I came to one of your webinars in January, you showed me the trend trade, and I cannot believe my eyes. I started following your trade each time you placed the trend trade, and my results have been stellar. In February, I decided to devote $1,000 to this particular trade and have grown that starting balance into now $3,760 on just 5 trades. Wow. I continue to be surprised when your methods work so well because this has just not happened to me before." Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the trend setup. If you have any questions specifically on that trend setup, go ahead and pop them into the chat box. I'm just going to take one more swig of water, and then I will come back to answer all of your questions here. Greg, are you saying that past results will be the same in the future? No, I never mentioned that at all. Steven, this is the most simplest trading strategy I've ever seen. Why are you giving this information to us for free? So, Jeremy, I was not expecting that question, but let me go ahead and answer that since you asked. Number one, it should be really clear by now, really clear, that I truly love teaching individual traders and individual investors how to be much more consistent with their trading results. Number two, in my opinion, the market is so big. There's hundreds of billions of dollars changing hands every minute of every day. In my opinion, it would take hundreds of billions of dollars all doing the exact same thing as us at the exact same time before something like this becomes saturated, if you will. And then the third thing I'll say is, I have dozens and dozens and dozens of strategies that are this simple to follow and this consistently profitable. So it's no big deal that you know this information. However, I appreciate the kind words. Gary, what do you do when the market is down more than 3%? So in that situation, when the market is down more than 3%, the trend setup is not a go. There are plenty of other things to do in that situation, but the trend setup is not a go. Cool. Which expiration do you use for options? Yep. So very simple. This trade, we get long on Monday, we sell on Friday. So the simplest thing to do, if you want to go ahead and take advantage of this via options, we just use that Friday weekly expiration, right? The one that expires at the end of the week. Nice and simple. Steven, do you send a trade alert to your members of Market Hero for when you do this trade? So yes. So let's say, as an example, you were a member of Market Hero yesterday morning, right? That morning, we sent a notification to our members saying, hey folks, the trend setup is a go this morning, and here is the exact trade that I am using to take advantage of that. So yes, if you are a member of Market Hero, you don't need to do any research yourself, because we will just tell you, hey, it's a go, and here is the exact trade that I am doing to take advantage of it. Cool. Steven, how do I find out the weekly return in the S&P 500? Sure, very simple. We take Friday close to Friday close. So if you wanted to figure out what the returns were for this week, you take the closing price from last Friday and compare it to whatever the closing price is this upcoming Friday. It's Friday close to Friday close. Now in the chat box, again, I do see many folks asking about in the money versus out of the money versus delta. So if you are one of those, go ahead and please let me know in the chat box if you are okay holding on to those questions until the end of the training. I just want to make sure we're continuing to move on with the great pace we have. So if you have any more questions about in the money versus out of the money, please go ahead and let me know in the chat box if you are okay asking those questions at the end of the training. Thank you, Jack, Timothy, MB, Steve, Art, George. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jeremy over there. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, John. And thank you, Gerald. Awesome. And again, folks, that was Q&A part 2. Now, I'm going to take one last swig of water here before we move on to the next bit of content. But while we do, please do me a favor. Please go ahead and give me a 1 in the chat box if you have enjoyed this training so far, or if you have learned something brand new, or if maybe you had an aha moment, or if you're starting to feel like there's definitely a better way to go about trading in the market, or if you wish you knew these strategies just 1 week ago. If you fall under any of those categories, please go ahead and give me 1 in the chat box, just so I know we are continuing to provide you with a lot of fantastic content here today. All right, we got James, MB, Jack, Gene, Bill, Rob. We have Hiron, Sid. We have Rob. We have Saju, Timothy, Doc, Johan, Gene, Robin B, Kenneth, Art, Jan, Van. We have Jim. Jim goes, really opening my eyes. Very cool. Moses, Tom, Teresa, George, Victor, Rob, John, Fred, Brenda, Tony, Nathaniel, Henderson, Sir. We have Jared, Charles. We have so many more folks. Thank you for the kind words. And again, if we did not get to every single one of your questions during this training in a short while, we will do a much, much, much longer Q&A, and we're not going to leave until every single question has been answered. So let's recap where we are at this point. we first talked about that gold day setup, which talked about the idea that going all the way back to the year 2000, Friday has been the overall returns of the gold market. And then we talked about this trend setup, which talked about the idea that going back to the year 1990, again, 30 years, weeks following a drawdown or a loss of between 0.5% to -3%, have not only beaten the returns of the market, but they've done it in a very, very consistent manner. Now, at the beginning of this training, I promised you that you would learn new ideas that would start making you money immediately, whether you are a beginner or a pro. So I have to ask you, was our time together valuable? Did you enjoy this training? Do you understand now how I'm able to do what I do in the stock market, and some of my students are able to get such big time results? And can you see how these setups will allow you to profit immediately, whether you are a beginner or pro? And do you see how little time and knowledge is really needed to invest? Because here's the deal, folks. I have complete confidence in you. Why? Because you all promised me that you are going to go out there and you are going to take action on these methods immediately following this training. And while we did spend about 45 minutes together and go over 2 very consistent and very profitable strategies, there's only so much we can go over. Imagine spending more time together, how much more valuable that would be to you. Now, in the beginning, I also promised you an opportunity to join me in taking your next steps together by joining our Market Hero community, which is designed to give you the exact step-by-step formula for crushing in the market and achieving mountains and mountains of success. Because here's the deal. Yes, the gold day setup, it has beaten the returns of the market since 2000. It did it last year, and is doing it yet again right here, right now in 2020. And yes, the trend setup, it has beaten the market since 1990. It did it last year and is doing it yet again this year. But folks, those are only the tip of the iceberg. And Market Hero is designed to get you results big and fast. So why wouldn't you consider something that would practically guarantee your success? Which is why it's my pleasure to extend an exclusive invitation to stock market dominance by becoming a Market Hero today. Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to go into depth about what Market Hero is. And if you think it's right for you, I want you to get it. And if you don't, I don't want you to get it. Plain and simple. Does that sound fair to you? Very cool. So if you want to achieve true financial freedom or supplement your current income or take part in the profits that we are getting of up to 19.14% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you are a complete beginner, then Market Hero is specifically for you. So here is what's finally going to work for you, folks. The first thing you're going to get with Market Hero are my profit crushing setups, so you can make yourself a lot of money. Now, in Market Hero, we have roughly 8 dozen or so, but I only have time to go over a few of them right now, such as setup number 3. It is profitable 91% of the time for an average of 10.75% ROI, and this is a nice and easy once a month trade. As you can see, recently TC, he made $1,700 or 52% ROI overnight from this one trade. Or Ron, this was a very easy trade to do with very limited market exposure. He made $900 less commissions, and of course, he is super happy. Or what about Ben? Ben says, I more than made it my membership with this trade. I'm looking forward to more good stuff. We also have setup number 7, the 15-minute window each trading day since 2009 that is responsible for 49% of all market returns. Now, back in the month of April, one of my members by the name of Lee, he put this to the test. So what did he do? He logged into his account at the exact same time every day, bought the same stock, sold it 15 minutes later, and as a result, made over $4,000 profit investing just 15 minutes a day. Would you agree with me, folks, that this is yet another example of making more money and spending a lot less time doing so? I think so as well. We also have setup number 14, the 8 days of the year, which are responsible for 36% of all market gains, and we profit in less than 24 hours, just like John did, who made a 42% profit in one day from this one particular trade. or Silvio, who made $2,800 profit in one day from this one trade, or Satyajit, 28.4% profit in one day from this one trade. Now, the really cool thing about these profit crushing setups is not only are they going to show you how to make a lot of money, but they're also going to save you a ton of time and money by getting rid of those newsletters, those books, that financial advisor, those newspapers, those things that actually never made you a dime in the first place. In fact, our average Market Hero member saves $213 a month when they come on board because they get rid of all these things that never made them a dime in the first place. Now, it is very, very important to me. Actually, I would say it is critical to me that every single one of our members of Market Hero can participate in every single one of our strategies. So whether you have a cash account, a retirement account, a margin account, a big account, or a small account, it does not matter because you can participate in every single one of our strategies. So here's what you're going to get with Market Hero today. You're going to get those profit crushing setups so you can make yourself a lot of money. You're also going to get my automation tools so you can save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be in front of the monitor to click the button yourself each and every day. On top of that, we also have my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan, which I would like to go over very, very quickly. Now, here's an example of one of our many Market Hero cheat sheets, and all it does is it asks you 3 questions about any stock you are looking at. And based on your answer to those 3 questions, it will reveal to you which of our trades is right for you in that stock on that day. So when you're thinking about these cheat sheets, like imagine for a second that you're sitting at home and you are trading all by yourself. But with these cheat sheets, it is literally like I am standing over your shoulder telling you exactly what I would do. It completely takes the guesswork out of which of our setups to follow. It is a step-by-step handheld as investing comes. Now, folks, if you're like me, you wake up every morning, you look like this. Your hair is all over the place. You don't know where you are. You definitely don't know what time it is. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip over and you're going to take a look at your phone. And what you're going to get from me from this day moving forward is a morning game plan. So think for a second about your favorite sporting teams: Manchester United, the New York Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Lakers, Alabama Crimson Tide. They never go into a sporting event blind. Why? Because they have a game plan. This is your game plan each and every day. So each night, here's what we do. We run a very long and very expensive algorithm through our watch list of stocks. We call that our black book of stocks, and we reveal to you each morning which trades should be taken in those stocks on that day. And as you could have expected, our members of Market Hero love the game plan. David wrote me a note a few days ago, and he says, Stephen, you are killing it. I took 14 stocks out of the game plan. 4 are closed today with more than 50% profits, and 10 are still running at the green zone. Am I too greedy? I see dollar signs laying down on the floor waiting to be picked up. Thanks to you. That was a couple days ago. Here's literally today. He says, you know, following your morning game plan, I have normally 10 to 14 open positions, while almost every day, 2 to 3 are closing as a winner with 50% profits. Today's winners: Avago, Chipotle, and Disney. This is absolutely amazing. I don't want to show off, but really, this is very easy to do. David has a game plan each and every day, folks, and I want the exact same thing for you. So here's what you're going to get with Market Hero. You're going to get those profit crushing setups so you can make yourself a lot of money. You're going to get my automation tools so you can save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be in front of the monitor to click the button yourself each and every day. On top of that, you're also going to get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan so you know how to attack the market each and every day. And then, folks, I said I wanted to do this together. So for that, you, me, and all of my Market Hero members are going to get on a live weekly webinar training every single week live with me, so you can get all of your questions answered by me live and see what's working for me in real time. And if once a week is not good enough for you, that's okay, because you'll have 24/7 access to our private Facebook group and email support, so you can get your questions answered all day, every day. So the total value of Market Hero is $15,583. But look, I told you at the beginning of this training, that we would make this training worth at least $5,000 to your investments. And I know that we proved that beyond a shadow of a doubt that was dead true. But as you guys also know, I'm not going to charge you $15,583 to get access to the live weekly training, to the automation tools, to the morning game plan. But I have a question for you. What if I did charge you $15,583? Would it be worth it? You know, if all it did was make you very profitable by doing trades just 8 days a year, then would it be worth it? Well, of course it would, because you get to take off the other 357 days. So yes, it would certainly be worth it. Now, if all it did was supplement your income by making a few extra $1,000 every month for the rest of your life in a semi-automated fashion, then would it be worth it? Well, of course it would, because after a few months, you pay off that 15 grand, and everything from that point moving forward is absolutely gravy on top. So yes, it would definitely be worth it. Now, if all it did was by utilizing my daily reminders, allow you to never worry about your finances ever again, and allow you to spend more time with your family and travel, then would it be worth it? 10 times out of 10 it would, because you see, the total value of Market Hero is $15,583, but everything in Market Hero is the exact step-by-step formula for how I was able to make over $1 million of profits in the stock market. As you can see, this is a screenshot from one of my trading accounts today. I made over $31,000 profit today, but it was not just me. It was also my members of Market Hero, like Charlie. Wow, Stephen Brooks, great call on Nike, up $3,000 since yesterday. Or Gerard, you literally called the top in UNG last week, almost to the minute. Very impressive. Just closed out that position for $2,000 in profits. Or James, HMY up big today, now sitting at 167% return since Friday morning. Thanks, Stephen. So how many of you, if you could, would write me a check for $15,583 to learn the exact step-by-step formula for how to make over $1 million of profits in the stock market? It really puts it into a different perspective now, doesn't it? Because Market Hero is not a cost, it's an investment. You see, whether we like to admit or not, the people around us who are the most successful, they are the ones who continuously invest in themselves, their skill, their mind, their craft, and in their education, because they know the investments that they make in themselves are the ones that generate the greatest returns. Now, do not just take that from me. Let us instead ask the wealthiest, most successful investor ever and see what he thinks. Because folks, Warren Buffett agrees with me. Warren Buffett says the most important investment you can make is in yourself. So you can see why it would be a steal at $15,583. And as I told you before, this is a $5,000 offer for everyone else walking down the street. But because we're all part of the TradeThirsty family, there's going to be a ton of incentives and a giant discount. So ladies and gentlemen, you can get started today for $9.97 for lifetime access. Quickly, this is not an automatic rebill. This is not a subscription service. We will not reach out to you 1 year from now saying, hey, pay us more money to maintain your membership. This is $9.97 for lifetime access. So open up those browser tabs, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Now, if you are thinking that $9.97 is too much of an investment, here are a handful of our brand new members who made that investment back just this week. Today, Howard posted in our group as a new member. He says, made the cost of the program back in my second day as a member of this program. I cannot wait for day 3. He made over $1,000 today. Or William, he said, I joined Market Hero on Tuesday, September 1st. At that time, my account was only $2,600. In 8 calendar days after trades in Cisco, SPY, and General Mills, my account balance is sitting at $4,081. Amazing. Your passion really stands out and has motivated me big time, Stephen. Or Philip, today, a new member, made back the cost of Market Hero after Tesla today. Thanks, Stephen Brooks. Now, I kind of have this saying with my company that if I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours. So for that, folks, we have a very generous 30-day double money back guarantee, and it's a 2-parter. The first part goes like this. I ask you to learn and try 5 of our methods in the first 30 days. Now, you can try them on real money or you can try them on paper money. That's up to you. And if they do not work out for you in the first 30 days, all you have to do, send that information over to my team. And once they verify it, they will instantly refund your charge, no questions asked. And the second part goes like this. Now, make sure you are paying extra special attention. Not only will we instantly refund your entire purchase, but I will also write you a personal check for $997 cash for wasting your time, which means when you open up those browser tabs and you head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP, that the investment that you make in yourself today is completely risk-free. And again, here's what you're gonna get with Market Hero. You're gonna get those profit-crushing setups so you can make yourself a lot of money. You're gonna get my automation tools so you can save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be in front of the monitor to click the button yourself each and every day. On top of that, you'll also get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan. And then folks, we're gonna do this together. Live every single week with me on a live webinar training and 24 hours a day in our private Facebook group and email support. Again, the total value, $15,583. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, should I join now or should I join today? Well, for the first 50 new members, only, you will get to see every single trade that I make in real time. I call these my profit screaming notifications, but really they are just our trade alerts. As you can see, this year we have some substantial results. We have a very high win rate. We have a very high average ROI per trade. This is a $10,000 value delivered directly to you, so you don't just get the playbook, you get every single play that I'm running in real time. This bonus alone is worth many, many multiples of what your one-time investment in Market Hero is, and it cannot get any more done for you. Now, earlier this week, one of my members by the name of Susan wrote me a note, and she said this. She said, "Hi, Stephen. I have subscribed to many other services, but nobody has delivered on what they have promised as you have. Actually, you are more than delivering. Since I have been burned in the past so many times, I told myself initially I would just follow your trade alerts. Well, for the past 6 weeks, I followed all the trade alerts, Marvel, Rad, AEO, yada, 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 and they have all been profitable. Just by following your alerts, my account is up $3,085. I have so much confidence in getting to see the trades you make, and by just copying your trades, my results are great." Also, Kyle wrote me a note last week. He said this, take a look at the words in red. They are incredible. He said, "Stephen, I can't believe that it's over a month actually since I joined your service. I have taken all the trades that you have sent and they have all been profitable. If this continues over the course of the year, I will actually have a real retirement plan, so I will be able to supplement my Social Security income." Now, I want to sweeten the deal for you even more today. So not only are you going to get access to all my trades, all my data, and the live weekly coaching, but when you are one of the first 50 new members to join today, you are also going to get a complimentary one-on-one consultation with me. That's right, one-on-one with me over the phone. A one-on-one consultation costs everyone else walking down the street $997 for an hour of my time, but it can be yours absolutely free today if you're one of the first 50 new members. Think about this. And what other program do you actually get to speak one-on-one with the owner of the company? That is what Market Hero is, and that is going to be you and I in the next few weeks. So again, folks, this is $997 for lifetime access. This is not an automatic rebill. This is not a subscription service. This is $997 for lifetime access. And again, folks, remember, it is fully backed by our 30-day double money back guarantee. So open up those browser tabs, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Now, we have done a deal with PayPal for our US customers only. Unfortunately, PayPal does not extend credit to our international customers, but those international customers can still pay via credit card. So if you live in the United States and you head on over to stephenbrooks.co /VIP, there will be a blue button on the page that says pay with PayPal. If you click on that button, you will be sent over to PayPal. And if you check out via PayPal credit, PayPal will give us the $9.97 investment today, and then you will enter into a payment plan with payments as low as $27 a month. So if you live in the United States, you would like to get started today and pay later, PayPal credit might be a great opportunity for you. Now, there's a very good book out there by Robert Kiyosaki. It is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if any of you have read it, but it is a very good book on personal finance. It has been a New York Times bestseller for decades. And in the book, one of the things the author talks about is the phrase, I can't afford it, or it costs too much. Like, I know buying this stock would provide me a 50% return on my investment, but I just can't afford it. Now, the author, he asks a much better question. He asks, how can I afford it? You see a statement like, I can't afford it, it just shuts you down. But just by asking a question, your mind starts to open up and it starts to look for answers. Here's the deal. The successful people like you and I, we don't worry about how much it costs. We only care about ROI. We only care about return on investment. So think about it. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? I believe you can either make money or you can make excuses. If you want to make money, then get all the help you need. If you want to make excuses, then don't complain. Don't complain about why you are stuck. Don't complain about why you are not getting the results that you want. Don't complain because you have hesitated long enough. Today is the day you have hesitated and waited long enough, and today is the day that you say, it is my time because my future is worth it, my family is worth it, and I'm worth it. So again, if you would like to achieve true financial freedom or supplement your current income or take part in the profits that we are getting of up to 19.14% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you are a complete beginner, then Market Hero is specifically for you. So that is the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to do here really quickly is I'm just going to take a little bit of a sip of water. I will check to see how many of our bonus slots we have available, and then I will come back to answer all of your questions. And as I mentioned before, we are not going to leave this training until every single question has been answered. All right, so I did just post into the chat box how many of our bonus slots are available. Can somebody give me a yes in the chat box just so I know that everyone was able to see how many of those slots we have available? Great. All right, cool. Let's see here. We have the first question comes from Nancy. Stephen, I have $10,000. What should I invest in? So Nancy, you are not going to like my answer, but it's really true. So I would like you to pay attention. Rather than me telling you which stock to buy, which trade to make, I'd rather see you take that money and I'd rather see you invest in yourself so you know what to do with that money. Now, whether you choose to invest in me or invest in somebody else, that is completely up to you, but I do believe you truly need to take that money and you need to invest in yourself. Timothy, do we get the game plan 5 days a week or every day the market is open? So you get the morning game plan, Timothy, every day that the market is open. Let's say Monday, for example, which was Labor Day, the market is not open, so there's no need for us to send a game plan on a day where the market is not open. Cool. Doug, if I don't buy the course right now, can I still get it later? When and how? So Doug, first of all, my man, Market Hero is not a course. It's not a course. In fact, I don't believe you come and pro at anything by buying a course reading some books, or watching a DVD. I believe the only way to really become a pro is to get that information and then be able to work with someone in somewhat of a mentorship type of position. So that is what Market Hero is. Yes, you get the data, you get the cheat sheets, you get the how-to, all that stuff, but you get live weekly coaching. You can ask me a question over email whenever you like, and if you are one of the first 50 new members to join today, you'll also get to see all the trades I make in real time, and you'll have a one-on-one consultation with me. So Market Hero is not a course, it is a community. And yes, Doug, you are more than welcome to come on board outside of this training. However, if you're not one of the first 50 new members to join, you will not get any of the bonuses, and of course the price will go up to $5,000. So you might want to go ahead and weigh the pros and cons yourself. And again, Doug, if you have any other questions, just go ahead and pop them into the chat box. Bernice, the money back guarantee seems amazing. Can you explain it one more time? Sure, Bernice. So I ask you to learn and try 5 of our methods in the first 30 days. Now, for argument's sake, or for example's sake, Bernice, let's assume for a second that you try those trades on paper money, right? You try the trades, you send them over to my team, they verify it, we refund you, plus we write you a check for $997 cash. So in that situation, Bernice, because you tried these methods on paper money, you risked 0 real capital. And the worst case scenario for you is that you make $997 on the deal. So I don't know about you, but if there's ever a situation where my worst possible outcome is I make $1,000 on the deal, I would do that any day of the week. And quite frankly, I think you would be crazy not to do that as well. Let's see here. We have a question from Johnny. What if I miss one of the weekly webinar trainings? So Johnny, more than likely you will, and that's totally okay. You will always have an opportunity to ask me a question beforehand. Then whether you are there or not, I will still answer your question live on the training. And if you can't come, no worries, because you'll be able to see my answer to your question that we post in the members area within typically 12 to 24 hours. Yep. Johan, do you have a payment plan? So our payment plan is PayPal credit for our US customers. Can you please put the link in the chat box? Sure. All right, we have a question here from Mary Ann. Stephen, I'm a full-time teacher and I don't know if I have enough time to devote to this. What do you think? So Mary Ann, let me ask you a question then. How much time do you think you have to devote to this on a given week? Go ahead and let me know what you think. So you said 1 hour. Fantastic. How much time then, Mary Ann, do you think it would take you to do something like the Goals Day setup that I taught you on this training? So she said less than 5 minutes. So Mary Ann, let me ask you then, do you have enough time to devote to this? And she goes, yes, Stephen, I'm in. So here's the deal. Right now in Market Hero, 85% of our members also have full-time day jobs. So if you are one of those folks out there who has a full-time day job, you would be in the overwhelming majority of our members because again, 85% of the members of this program also have a full-time day job. Question from Lee. Stephen, is it okay for me even if I live in Singapore? Yes, absolutely. So we have members from the United States, from Canada, the UK, Ireland, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. So we have folks from all over the globe, all over the globe. In fact, right now, I would say about 45% of our members live outside of the United States. So we can't just cater to our US customers, we have to be able to cater to our customers all over the globe. Everything that I am offering you, yes, is a one-time fee for lifetime access. Yes, to answer your question, Rob, that's correct. Jan, are all trades long only or do you ever sell spreads? So what I will say about that is we have the data for all this stuff. And when I look at the data, Jan, there are clearly times where the data says this is a very good time to get bullish. And typically that's what we do. There are also times where the data says it's a very good time to get bearish. About last Tuesday was when we started to get bearish. So we were about 1 to 2 days ahead of the correction, but our data was telling us it's about a good time to get bearish. So we're not afraid to do that, especially if the data says, yes, this is likely the thing to do. Let's see, we have a question here from Erica. Stephen, do I have to know how to code to do your automation tools? So no, you do not need to know how to code, and you don't need any specific online broker. Our automation tools work with any online brokerage. And what we do is, because a lot of what we do is rules-based, any online broker can handle the majority of that. Not all of it, but the majority of that. And trading automation is so important to our members of this program that we do a live coaching session every single month, specifically on the topic of trading automation. Absolutely, super, super important. Bill, what button do I select to buy in? So the URL is stephenbrooks.co/VIP. And again, you can check out via PayPal or you can check out via credit card. That's up to you. And I'll write the name, I will write the URL again in the chat box. Give me one moment. All right, we have a question here from Gregory. Stephen, I'm already one of your members of Market Hero, and I love your extra energy on all these free trainings. I have been a member since January, and I'm doing very well. How can I send you my information to do a case study? Well, I was not expecting that. Well, since you put me on the spot, Gregory, I'm going to put you on the spot. So in the chat box, when did you join this program? Go ahead and let me know. So you joined in January. So you also said you've been doing well. How well have you done since you joined in January? So you said you've made about a $13,000 profit since you joined in January, correct? He goes, yes. So then last question, Gregory, what was the size of your trading account before you joined the program? So roughly $15,000. So you more or less doubled your account in the first 8 or 9 months of this year since you became a member of this program. Is that correct? He goes, yes. I hope you all heard me, folks. You have a fellow member of Market Hero who is on this free training with you, who has nearly doubled his account this year. Amazing, fantastic. Gregory, do me a favor, go ahead and email my customer support team. Their email address is support@stonybrookssecurities.com, and we'll shoot you a note, and maybe we can jump on a screen share tomorrow if that works for you. T-DOS, do you provide any payment plans? So we provide PayPal credit for our US customers, but if you need any help purchasing today, just go ahead and shoot us an email at support@stonybrookssecurities.com. Let me go ahead and write that in the chat box right now. Great. All right, what do we got here? We have a question here from Kevin C. Stephen, how can you give such a generous money back guarantee like that? So great question, Kevin. There's a few things I will say about that. The first is our members' results are very, very good. They're very, very good. By the end of month one, 79% of our members have made their money back. By the end of month two, 88% of our members have made their money back. And by the end of month three, we have only had 3 members ever who have not made their money back. So Kevin, to answer your question, one of the reasons why I can give such a generous money back guarantee is because our members' results are really, really good. And the second thing I'll say is, you know, I want you to succeed so badly that I'm willing to take on some additional risk. And again, I'm okay taking on that additional risk by offering you double your money back, because again, I have a very good idea of just how successful you may be when you truly invest in yourself today. The time zone where I live is 12 hours ahead of New York, so the markets are open while I am sleeping. So, Andrew, right now we have about 50 members from Australia, and I believe Australia, at least some parts of Australia, are 12 hours difference. So we have over 50 members who are in the same boat as you. So yes, absolutely, it has worked for them, and there's no reason why it cannot work for you too. And again, Andrew, that's one of the reasons why getting a one-on-one consultation with me is so powerful, because we can talk about the fact that you have a 12-hour time difference, and we can figure out some of the methods that will work very well for you in your personal situation. Tim, are the live weekly sessions recorded? Yes. And what time are they at? Tim, typically they are Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday after the market has closed. We will typically send an email over the weekend to our members asking them when is the best time for you all to meet together. And then whatever the best time is, that is when we will meet. Okay? So even if you can't make it, that is totally okay, because we will be able to you will be able to see the recording that we post in the members area 12 to 24 hours later. We have actually recorded every single live coaching session we have done over the last few years, and you can watch any of those whenever you want. We have a question here from Gina. What if the strategies in Market Hero do not work out for me? Great question. Great question. So let me say a couple things about that. Number one, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, Gina, but it's really true. There have been times that my data team, they've sent me methods that looked very good on paper, very, very good on paper. And I just kind of sat there and I monitored it, if you will. Okay, I cannot even begin to tell you how many tens of thousands of dollars I have left on the table because I did not take action with what was so obvious before me. To me, there is a giant opportunity cost not coming on board today with this price and these bonuses. So all you really should be doing is opening up that browser tab, heading on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Brian K. Stephen, I'm a complete newbie. Do you have other members of the program who are also brand new to trading? So yes, we do, Brian, and great question. And of course, welcome to the world of the stock market. I will ask you, Brian, the same question that I asked them. Are you willing to follow directions? Are you willing to follow directions? If you are willing to follow directions, yes, absolutely, Market Hero will work out for you. Great question. Let's see. Question from Bill B. Do I have to know technical analysis to have Market Hero work for me? No, we did not cover anything technical analysis related on this training, and we sure as heck do not talk about it in Market Hero. Kathy, I prefer to trade just options. Will that be okay with Market Hero? Yes, we are stocks and options. So we have some folks who trade just stocks and they do great. We have other folks who trade just options and they do great as well. We have other folks who trade a combination of stocks and options and they do very well. We are stocks and options. The only thing we don't really mess around with is Forex. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have here? We have a question from Mohammed. How much research do you think I will need to do to figure out which stocks to buy with your methods? So Mohammed, how much research do you think you will need to do for something like the trend setup? Let me know in the chat box. So you said Less than 5 minutes, not much. Here's the deal with Market Hero. My entire purpose for this program is to teach you how to fish. Why? So that you can feed yourself and your families for the rest of your lives. Now, the best way I know how to do that is to fish with you in the same boat each and every day by not only showing you the trades that I am doing, but being available to answer all of your questions each and every day. It's one of the reasons why we have such high success rates from our customers. And again, it's because my entire job and my entire purpose is to teach you how to fish, and we do it together every single day. All right, we have a question here from Douglas. Stephen, the price seems a little steep. Can you talk to me about that? Sure, Douglas. So first of all, this is not a subscription. This is not an automatic rebill. Everyone else is going to charge you a yearly fee. We are simply $9.97 for lifetime access. So off the bat, Douglas, we are of course much different from everyone else. And it kind of never ceases to amaze me, Douglas, how people think nothing when it comes to buying the most expensive iPhone, buying a new car, or taking a vacation. People think nothing when it comes to that. But all of a sudden, when it comes to investing in financial education, it all of a sudden becomes a big deal. See, I was speaking, Douglas, at this 2-day event roughly a year or so ago. And of course, I was the first speaker to go on Saturday morning to get the crowd going. Now, after I spoke, I sat in the front row because I wanted to hear what the other speakers were talking about. And about 30 minutes in to the second speaker going, I stood up, I turned around, and I walked towards the back table, and I handed the young lady sitting there my credit card. And she goes, well, wait a second, sir. You don't even know what you are buying. You don't know if it's a DVD. You don't know if it's a seminar. You don't even know what you are buying. I said, I don't care. I want what he's selling. Please charge my card. And she said, well, wait a second, sir. You don't even know what the price is. I said, I do not care what the price is, because I know if I can learn one thing from this person, just one thing from this person, that I'm going to get a giant return on my investment, no matter what the price is. So please go ahead and charge my card. Now, I did the exact same thing for the third speaker and the exact same thing for the fourth speaker. At the end of that 2-day event, the moderator of the event, his name is George, he came up to me and he goes, hey, Stephen, can I ask you a question? I go, what's up? He goes, why did you bother spending all that money on all those other programs? You are a much better trader than they are. You are a much better speaker than they are. Why did you bother spending all that money? I said, George, how the hell do you think I became so successful? Because you see, over the course of that weekend, I spent over $7,000 on my financial education. But over the course of the next year or so, I made over $100,000 from just the methods that I learned from those 3 programs. Now, how many of you out there think that is a good deal? How many of you out there think that is a bargain? To invest $7,000 to make back $100,000 in 1 year's time. I am offering you the same type of deal, not for $7,000, for $9.97 for lifetime access. So again, open up those browser tabs, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that all 50 slots have been taken, but because there are a ton of you on this training, I'm going to reopen the bonuses for as long as this Q&A lasts. So I don't really know how long this Q&A is going to last. I don't know if it's going to last for 5 minutes. I don't know if it's going to be 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to be a half an hour. But we will reopen the price and bonuses until this Q&A is over. So if you are a little bit on the fence or you have some last-minute questions, go ahead and pop them into the chat box, and I'll hang around for as long as you have questions. And once you no longer have questions, we will shut down this Q&A, and we will also shut down enrollment in this program. Are the live weekly sessions recorded? Yes, we record every single one for you to view at a later date. What kind of drawdown should we be willing to accept? So, sir, here's the interesting thing about what we do. We are very focused on the idea that the less money you risk, the more money you make, because the less money you risk, the more comfortable you are. And of course, the more comfortable you are, the better decisions you make. So a lot of our members are risking 2, 3, maybe 4% of their account per trade. So the idea of having these very large drawdowns really does not happen with our students because we're not risking a good deal of our account per trade. Do you send out trade alert notifications? So yes, we do. Okay, for every single person who joins before the Q&A is over, you will get to see all the trades that I make in real time. Now, these are not your average trade alerts. Let's say, for example, we are providing you with an options trade alert. Again, we're stocks and options. We will send you an opening trade alert that will have the following details: the stock, the expiration, the strike price, the entry price, the profit target, and the stop loss. If we need to make an adjustment on the trade, which from time to time we do, we will also send an alert for that adjustment. And then when we exit the trade, either for profit or for loss, we will also provide that information. So we don't just say, hey, here's a trade, good luck. We say, here's the trade that I am doing, and let me show you everything I'm doing through the life cycle of that trade. Are there any trades that go out for over 2 weeks? Great question, Jan. So the average trade we are in for 3 weeks, right? Our average trade alert from this year, we have been in the position for roughly 3 weeks. Awesome, Jim, welcome. Yes, to answer your question, George, the answer is yes. Question from Joey. My account size is only $2,500. I don't feel like I can get meaningful returns from that. What do you say about that, Stephen? Great question, Joey. What I have to say is that kind of question is very typical for people who have very short-sighted vision. And let me explain to you why. We have a member of Market Hero who is a truck driver. He's 23 years old and he's a truck driver, and he drives a truck over the northwest part of the United States. Now, when he joined roughly a year or so ago, he had $0 to put into an online brokerage account. So what did he do? He sold his laptop for $1,000 and put that $1,000 into his first online brokerage account. Now, in his first year, this young man, Josiah, he turned his account from $1,000 into $5,000. Now, some of you out there might be saying, well, Stephen, making $4,000 in 1 year is not a great deal of money. And while that might be true for some, he had a 500% return on his portfolio in 1 year. So don't just focus on how much money he made in year one. Think about how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that young man is going to make over the rest of his trading career. Why? Because he knows how to consistently make money, and now it is just a rinse and repeat process. Where are the setups on the website? Well, they can be found in module 0 plus a bunch of other modules on top of that. So Timothy, if you have any questions, just go ahead and email my support team. Their email address is support@stonybrook-securities.com, and I'll actually go ahead and add it to the chat box now. There you go. Stephen, I just signed up. What can I expect? Well, George, of course, welcome to the program. Here's what you can expect, okay? Within the next 30 seconds after you join the program, you will get a few emails from myself and from my team, of course, welcoming you to the family, showing you how to create your account, how to join the Facebook group, how to get your trade alerts, and how to book your one-on-one consultation from me. We want to get you up and running quickly. Over the next few days, you and I will get on the phone for a one-on-one consultation because I want you to hit the ground running fast. And then maybe tomorrow we'll be doing a trade together. Again, there's no sense in wasting any time. There are so many opportunities right now in the market and over the next few months that there's no sense in wasting any time. We're going to hit the ground running together. And I guarantee you, I know people in this industry hate using the word guarantee, but I guarantee you, you are going to be absolutely in love with what we have to offer in this very program. All right, now, There are still quite a few folks on this training. And again, I am committed to staying on this training as long as there are questions. However, if you have asked a question previously and I did not have the opportunity to answer it already, please go ahead and re-ask that question, just because I might have got it lost in the shuffle, if you will. So if you are on the training and you have any last minute questions and I did not answer them, please go ahead and re-ask those questions now, just so I have them kind of at the top of the queue. Will you cover what options in the money versus out of the money you are using for GLD and SPY? Yes, we use the 40 delta options when we buy options on those. But again, that's just one of the ways we can take advantage of that information. How many hours of video are there in total? We have quite a bit. But Rob, this is why it's really, really exciting to get a one-on-one consultation from me. Because in the next few days, you and I are going to get on the phone and you can say, hey, this is a lot of information. Give me 2 to 3 strategies that I should focus on first. And I will say, okay, A, B, and C, go. Or you can just email me tomorrow and we can chat about that. This is why, folks, we get such tremendous results from our members, because I know most of our members on like a personal first name basis. Because if you ask a question, you will get an answer, absolutely 100%. And it's why our success is so high, because we don't just say, hey, here's a program, good luck, or hey, here's a trade, good luck. We are engaging with one another throughout the entire day. And right now in our Market Hero Facebook group, we have 1,300 other members. So you can not only communicate with me each and every day, you can also communicate with all of your fellow members of this program. Where should I open a trading account? So I do not care where you open your trading account, Sid. What I will say is this: as long as you can trade stocks and options, it does not matter what trading account you have. We have some folks who use TD Ameritrade, Schwab, E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, Options House, NinjaTrader, Robinhood, Webull. As long as you can trade stocks and options, Sid, that is totally fine for us. Van, the answer to your question is lifetime. Correct. Andrew, can you please explain how automation works? Will the automation open close trades without intervention from me? So Andrew, you will still have to open the trades, but in most cases, once you open the trade, you're done. The system will close it for you. Does that make sense to answer your question, Andrew? Cool. Very cool. You got it, Andrew. Tell him TD and or Tasty are both good. Yeah. So again, we have folks from all over the world, all different skill sets, ages, size of accounts. As long as you have a brokerage account where you can trade stocks and you can trade options, that is all I care about. You don't need any other specific account on top of that. And again, folks, I do see that we still have quite a few folks on the training. So as I mentioned before, we have reopened the price and bonuses, right? We have reopened the price and bonuses for every single person who joins this program before the Q&A session is over. Now, we've been going on here for about 30 minutes on the Q&A. It may go 30 minutes more, it may not. But once the Q&A is over, then the price and bonuses will end. And again, we are known for delivering the best product at the best price. And I know we deliver that in a big, big way with Market Hero. If you search on the internet for Stephen Brooks Market Hero, I am willing to guarantee that what you see on the internet in terms of forums is overwhelmingly positive. That's because we offer the best product for the best one-time price, and we are there to help you and do this together each and every day. Al, fantastic question, Al. He says, so if you have 1,300 members all taking the same trades, is it still possible for all of us to make money? Great question, Al. Here is the answer. We do not trade every stock out there. We trade only about 150 stocks. We trade the ones with the highest volume numbers, right? The highest liquidity is what they call it in the trading world. So as an example, Al, if we place a trade in Apple, do you think that we're going to move the market in Apple or Amazon or Netflix or Tesla or Twitter or Snapchat? Do you think we will have any problem getting filled with what we want to do in those names, Al? Let me know in the chat box. Jan, just send us an email at support@stonybrookssecurities.com and we will help you out with whatever you need. Austin Van, welcome. Yeah, Douglas, just go ahead and re-ask your question. It's very possible that I may have overlooked it just because we see, we have so many questions. So please just go ahead, Douglas, and just re-ask that question. It'll be right at the top of my queue. Do you have to have a Facebook account? No, Kathy, you do not need a Facebook account. Right now, 40% of our members are in the Facebook group. So actually, 60% of our members are not in the Facebook group. Our Facebook group, we never post anything, Kathy, in the group that we don't send out over email, if you will. So don't worry about missing out on any information if you don't join the Facebook group. That is just a really good opportunity for you to be able to interact with your fellow members of this program, because not only will you get to see the trades I am making every day, but there are 10, 15, sometimes 20 different trading ideas in the Facebook group each and every day from your fellow members of this program. So you don't have to join, because right now, again, 40% of our members are part of that program. But great question, Kathy. Rob, so just send an email to you to get moving right away. Again, you will need to enroll in the program by going to stephenbrooks.co/VIP. But again, one of the benefits you have is you can kind of send me an email whenever you want. And as long as it's about trading stuff, I'll answer it. I did not see the presentation because I got in late, because I misunderstood the time. Can I see the presentation offered later? You would have to follow up with the TradeThirsty team. This is their webinar. This is their presentation. So Douglas, you would have to follow up with the TradeThirsty team to be able to see if you can locate a replay at a later date. I do not have the answer for you on that. My credit card got declined. Is there a phone number I can call into to determine the reason? So all you should do, Jan, is just go ahead and email my customer support team. I'll go ahead and type it in the chat right now. It is support@stonybrookssecurities.com, and please provide your phone number so we can call you and sort this out! Exclamation. Cool. Awesome. That clear, Jan? Cool. Now, again, I do not see any pressing questions in the chat box that we have not already answered. So a couple things. If you asked a question that we have not already answered, please go ahead and re-ask it in the chat box. If there are no other questions, we will close enrollment, we will close the price and bonuses, and we will start to immediately work with our brand new members of this program. Yeah, Rob, definitely email me. I'll help you out. Nathaniel, do I have to pay $9.97 next year? No, you do not. This is $9.97 one-time payment, my man. One-time payment, Nathaniel. How does that sound to you? Pretty good? Yep, Daniel, if you have a specific question on that, just please go ahead and reach out to my customer support team. Their email address is support@stonybrookssecurities.com. Yep, to answer your question, Daniel. I'll type in the chat again for you, big guy. Exclamation, smiley face. Congratulations, I just signed up. Al from New York. Awesome, I'm in Jersey, Al. Very cool. Just got your receipt, so false alarm, I guess. Sure. And again, if you just email my team, Jan, my team will look into it and see what happened here. Maybe one was declined and one was okay. Not sure what happened there, but my team will investigate if you give us that information. Cool. Okay, so I do not see any other pressing questions in the chat box. I will hang around for roughly 30 more seconds. And if I don't see any other pressing questions in the chat box, we will go ahead and end this training here today, and we will take down the price and the bonuses as well. Do you have a mobile app for Market Hero? Not yet, but we are actually working on it right now, and we are looking to have a mobile application available for our members at the beginning of 2021. We just don't have it available, but we are working on a mobile application for all of our members that we're hoping to launch at the beginning of 2021. So of course, if you join now, you'll get that for free when it's ready. Yep, you got it, Jan. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I do not see any other questions in the chat box. So we're going to go ahead and end this training here today. Now, for those of you who do not know me, who have not worked with me before, it's very critical that everyone learns something brand new every single time I teach them and every single time I coach them. So if you learned something brand new on this training, please go ahead and give me an 11 in the chat box. So again, if you learned something brand new on this training, please go ahead and give me an 11 in the chat box. I want to make sure that we are always learning, we are always educated, and we are always progressing. So if you learned something new on this training, please go ahead and give me an 11 in the chat box. There's a bunch of you. I appreciate that. I want to thank you all for participating. You are a fantastic audience. I hope everyone has a great evening and a lot of health moving forward. Have a great one.